try!
Okay, Western Force players, where's the I-line team? I-line right there? There, thank you. Western Force players, rugby community across Australia, particularly here in Western Australia. This is not the decision we wanted. This is clearly not the decision which we consider is just. We are not giving up remotely. I have this morning briefed one of Australia's leading silks, particularly expert in the High Court, Mr. Alan Myers, ACQC. We will be reviewing this judgment immediately, and we will not keep the Australian public waiting. We'll announce our decision to seek leave to appeal to the High Court within the next several days. But regardless of that, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to announce this morning is the new Western Force and the new game of rugby across the Indo-Pacific. We will include strong and deeply powerful players, broadcasters and fans of rugby all across the Indo-Pacific region, where some 60% of the world's people live, on our time frame right here in Western Australia. We will be including in this an international game smartly, and I hope to announce details of that in the next several days, with the Western Force versus a team that will surprise us all. But be assured, it will be worth that short wait. Ladies and gentlemen, I do intend to extend this game to 7-a-sides to encourage women and girls in rugby. It will be a very fast-moving game. It will be built for the players and for the spectators and take full advantage of the fabulous game of rugby. I can assure all Western Force players and all rugby supporters across this nation that out of great disappointment comes equal or greater opportunity. I can assure all of you that in the hottest fires is forged the strongest metal. And it is in this environment, and it is with this strength and with this determination that I say to players in the Western Force and beyond, and supporters of rugby in Australia and beyond, this is the beginning of the new force. This is the beginning of the new Indo-Pacific competition, and I am delighted to be an instigator of it. I will be releasing details immediately of the initial administration structure and can assure all of you that discussions have commenced across the world and within our own state and country to ensure this competition starts strongly and continues strongly, so that by the time 2020 rolls around, where the Western Force should have had its day, should have had its years, should have no doubt, I think, if allowed, if not so heinously cut down by the chairman of the ARU, who made a very poor financial decision, should have stayed with running a bank, I think, made a poor financial decision to shrink the game, to not approach people like me, to turn down an offer for 50 million, which is without record or precedent in Australian sport, to not grow the game and not strengthen it, but to shrink it. I consider that a very poor decision. I again call for the chairman of the ARU to join the honourable path of his chief executive and resign. I'd particularly like to thank, apart from all the players and apart from all the supporters, I'd particularly like to thank the Australian government, the West Australian government, for standing strong, staring down such bullying behaviour, and I'd like to now pointedly thank the cross parties of the Australian Parliament who are calling for Senate inquiry as to just how such an atrocious decision could be made to shrink the magnificent sport of rugby, as opposed to grow it and accept offers such as mine to come and fully support the Western Force and the game of rugby from the grassroots up. I'd like to thank very much Mr. Jeff Stooke for showing the mettle he did to stand up to the ARU, and of course Mr. John Wellborn, Australia's first West Australian born and bred Wallaby player, for his intellect and energy and his determination to stand by his mates in the Western Force. Last, ladies and gentlemen, May I assure you of myself and my family's deep personal conviction to the game of rugby, to the concept of fairness, to a just game in Australia and right across the Indo-Pacific, and that game starts right now. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
If you can't join them, you'll oppose them.
Let me assure you that, that this is not a great day for the ARU. This is a great day for Australian rugby.
Do you expect players to stay with the Force? I mean, they've got clubs and, you know, families that they're trying to look after.
You can ask them, but in honour of their character and in honour of them, I have not formally approached them. I've wanted to give this every chance. With this decision in the New South Wales Supreme Court going sadly against us, I am asking every Western Force player to stay strong, to allow me the time to be fully briefed by one of Australia's leading High Court lawyers. We've gone straight to the top, as you know that I would, and give me a little time, but then I will be disclosing the future of the Force, and I'll be disclosing immediately to the media what the Force administration looks like on an ongoing global Indo-Pacific basis.
Do you expect to have ARU support?
Sorry, do I expect to have ARU support? I expect the ARU directors, sans the chairman, to be fully supportive of this. We've spoken with ARU directors. They've been very supportive of someone having the horsepower to grow rugby across the Indo-Pacific, and I can assure them of my determination, and I can assure them, I believe, of the administration, which I will announce immediately.
What will this competition potentially involve?
It will involve key countries across the Indo-Pacific region who have approached us or have already publicly stated their deep conviction to rugby if they could be included in an Indo-Pacific arena, and I will be including them.
Andrew, is there a likely start date? Do you actually have a date in mind when you might start?
I'd like to start it with an international game, which is yet to be announced, you may be assured I don't let the grass grow under my feet. It will be as soon as possible, and certainly much faster, I think, than the ARU could ever organise.
And how many teams are you envisaging?
Initially 6.
Is the impression then that the ARU might, in years to come, bring some of the other teams over and break free from SANZAAR, which is something that's been talked about?
Look, I think SANZAAR has obviously been a very clear mistake for Australian rugby, shrinking the game as opposed to growing its grassroots, broadening its financial base, making it a really powerful game is what good leadership should do. Shrinking it isn't what we should do. And so I would not be surprised, and I will be encouraging South Africa and New Zealand and the other teams to come across. The Indo-Pacific region is broad. It is a massive economy. Broadcasters need huge populations and huge economies. They're not represented in SANZAAR necessarily, with New Zealand, Australia and South Africa dominating it. But if we get up into the Indo-Pacific region, that's where all the world's economic growth is, that's where the world's population is, and that's where the game of rugby will be very powerful and centred from Western Australia.
You've lost the first 2 rounds, you're on the ropes. What is the decision to go to the High Court good, throwing good money after bad?
May I assure you I've just begun to fight, mate, and that if the court cannot deliver justice for these players, I understand that. I didn't write that agreement which the ARU cunningly exploited, which was written last year. I know the decision was made purely on legal grounds, financial strength, player strength, on-field performance, spectator growth, everything which makes the game of rugby great was simply ignored as the ARU chair sought to shrink the game to its current status, shrink its popularity. Sad, but this is a new and bright dawn for Australian rugby.
For any players who decide to stay at the Force and play in this competition, what indication have you received as to whether they'll still be eligible to play for the Wallabies or not?
That's detail. I would say the ARU's made some noise about acting in players' best interests. Let's just ensure that they do that. I feel certain if they're sincere about that, and if they're sincere about the game playing in this competition as a path to the Wallabies, or the Wallabies a path to us is something we should both mutually encourage.
Can I just qualify that? You talk about the High Court, or was it Court of Appeal first?
No, we'll seek leave to the High Court to appeal. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough, and I would like to introduce our brave and wonderful immediate ex-captain. Thank you, sir. Well done, mate.
Just one sec, mate. Just keep.
Well, Joe, how many, from a player's perspective, what do you think of that announcement, and what's the likelihood of players waiting around for the new comp?
You probably don't want to hear what I thought when I initially heard the hearing, but yeah, frustrated, angry, annoyed. Yeah, disappointed that they couldn't even be here to seek us. Again, player welfare is probably the most thing important here. You can see how united we are, sticking together, and we'll fight this for as long as possible. And you'll probably see that again on Saturday when we represent the club that has rugby's best interest, not just a dollar here and there or so-called saving the game. We're all about giving rugby and giving people opportunity, and we represent that, and I think you could probably learn a bit from what we're doing over here.
A couple of players have talked about having plan Bs given the situation. Can you kind of begrudge any players for that?
No, I've spoken all along that they often talk to me first, and we go through a plan. Everyone wants to play for the Western Force. Players want to stay here, and you see how solid we are after 140 plus days. There has been no leaks in our ship yet, so we're fighting hard. Obviously, we have to look after our future as well, so we wouldn't begrudge anyone, but obviously the ultimate plan is to keep as many people here as long as possible, and you can see how many people here today that are still wearing their Force colours, still saying they're Western Force players and still proud to be Western Australian.
What was the emotion in the room when you guys find out? Obviously there's a few tears, and I mean the guys must be hurting.
Again, it's frustrating we find it through the media first, often annoyed that these things get leaked before we get the opportunity to sit down as a playing group. So we'll probably meet again after all this and actually talk it out and go through it. But you see in the back, people now. See what it means to the people? You give 12 years serving a state, serving a country, and they take it away from a stupid lettering of the law. But we're lucky we got people here fighting. Pity that the AAU didn't fight for us. So, yeah, annoying, frustrated, but the playing group, staff group, the fans, we're all here together, and that's what makes it all worthwhile fighting for each other.
So you're retired from Super Rugby. Would you possibly play on in a new competition?
100%. If it's the best thing for Western Force, best thing for the new competition, I'll definitely put my hand up to be part of organising, part of planning. Seeing everyone here, Future Force, they're the people we think about, and giving them an opportunity to play high-level football. And like I said, probably overtake Super Rugby at some stage, the way we're directing it, the way we're going, the population, the type of rugby we want to play. It's probably going to be at the forefront, and we're probably taking a step before anyone else. So that's something that excites us and gives us hope. It's just, again, frustrating and annoying that we haven't had the support of the governing body that reckon they have rugby's best interests at heart. Again, today they're not here. No one's phone called me. No one's talked to me. I thought I did good for the sport for 12 years, representing and captaining my country, and no one has actually spoken to me about this. Again, they speak to the media, speak to others about player welfare, but again, a phone call would be nice, and a reason would be even nicer. Again, so hopefully, apparently there's a test match on this weekend that both of them are watching, so I'm free Friday night if they want to come over for dinner and we can talk about these decisions. I've got 30 plus players here, 50 plus staff members, thousands of fans you saw on Sunday at the Perth Spirit game, all want answers and reasons why. So the invitation's always open, so it'd be interesting how they acknowledge that.
What sort of reaction do you reckon Bill Pulver and John Eales and Co will get this weekend at the test match?
Yeah, so I know a couple of them are doing paid lunches on Friday, so I wouldn't be buying tickets to those. But yeah, I think fans would be angry. Again, the process, the reason, the transparency, the corruption. It's been frustrating, and I don't think the fans, the players, won't deal with it well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't show up at all.
Are you encouraging people to wear blue if they do turn up?
Either blue or probably black, a day of mourning. It's been mentioned before. It's not a great day for not only Western Australians but for rugby in general. Shrinking the game, taking away half the country, and the fastest growing juniors. You saw the Perth Spirit on Sunday playing some of the best football. 5,000 people going to the hill to watch the game. You're taking that away from them. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting what happens on Saturday.
In terms of the Indo-Pacific region, how long do you think it would take to build up the game there to a pretty good quality?
Pretty quickly. I think the type of football that you could play, the people that you could draw upon, the numbers of people, including sevens, including women, giving access to so many people. Then you can even throw it on free to air and give access to so many people around the world. And that's something that probably is exciting and hasn't been tapped into a lot. So I think you could grow up pretty quickly, especially with someone like Andrew at the forefront and John Wellborn leading the charge there. They've got some great ideas and some great contacts in the business and sporting world.
Would you hope that by 2020 the Force could go back into Super Rugby, or?
No, I don't think we should go back. I think they should come to us now.
Yeah.
We're leaving. We're taking a step forward. We're making a change. Something that the AAU haven't thought of for a couple of years is innovation, and that's something that we've been pushed into a corner to do. But we're willing to take that step, and yeah, I think you'll be seeing in 2020 they're asking them to enter our competition, not the other way around.
Do you see that at the end of Super Rugby maybe 2020?
You see already 2 teams from Africa going, 2 more want to go. You see that how much that goes there on the same time frame. New Zealand want to play against Australian teams. It's the highest crowds, highest public audience, but they just don't trust the AAU board like a lot of us now. So if you do see a big change in the AAU board, you could see a Trans-Tasman, Australia, New Zealand, Pan-Pacific, Fiji, Tonga. All these things could be something we look into and something we're probably looking to and already. So we're taking that first step.
Indo-Pacific, mate, what can you tell us? What sort of clubs or countries, or what are we talking about here? Say, I think you mentioned six teams initially. What could it be, do you reckon?
Again, there's a lot of possibilities. A lot of teams probably want to play in a competition. You look at World Cup, those teams that want to play well in the World Cup. So you look at teams like Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, those types of team. You could even look at a 6 New Zealand team or a Pacific Nations team based out of Auckland. Australia, we could even tap into other areas, New South Wales country, Queensland country, combined states. So there's so many avenues, and we'll probably have to take all those considerations because there's a lot of good teams that want to play high-level football, and this could be the tool that gives them the access that have probably been blocked before.
What about the ownership of the Force? Has anything been said about that? Because will you even be allowed to be still the Force? Do you know? I mean, I don't want to upset you again, but could it be that you have to become morph into something else?
We'll always be known as the Force. We always represent WA. We'll always wear the blue proudly. We'll always wear the gold as well. We always want to represent what we've done for the last 12 years. We don't want to forget what we've done. We're just pushing forward as a club, as a unit. So we may not be called the Force. They might take that away. We might send them a bill for it. But yeah, we'll always be known as the Western Force. And as long as the Western Australians in our name somewhere, we'll be proud to put that on.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Matt.
I just wanted to say thanks on behalf of all the playing group and all the staff. Just particular thanks to Andrew Forrest and John Wellborn and Mark Sinderberry and Tony Howarth and the rest of the board. I think the amount of effort that they've put in over the last couple of months has just been outstanding. You know, so just on behalf of all of us, thanks for all the fight so far. We really do appreciate that. Are there any questions for me?
First emotion.
Are you hopeful of keeping this playing group together with the news you've just heard?
Yeah, I think as Hodjo and Andrew outlined there, you know, the players have just acted so admirably through this whole thing. I can't think of a single incident in all the months that we've been under this pressure that somebody's acted in a way they're going to look back on in a couple of years and regret, you know, and that's a real mark of the people that we have involved. I think in reality now, you know, Andrew's he's obviously got some exciting ideas, and he's going to outline those to us in the next couple of days, and then it's going to be really for the players to decide individually with their families, you know, what's the best thing for them. And we're very excited by what Andrew's proposing. You know, I think the way I sort of envisage it, I guess, is an IPL of rugby, you know, and he's obviously got the intellect, but he's also got the capital to really pull it off, you know. So it's a pretty exciting time for rugby. So I think, you know, the old saying, never waste a crisis, I think that's it, you know. And under some difficult circumstances, I think something very good for rugby could come out of all of this, which is great.
So you'll be in demand, obviously, because you've shown your colours this year and done well. So are you saying that you will be staying the course, you will be locking in straight away, or how's it going to work?
Oh, Adrian, so I look forward to having that conversation with Andrew again, and talking to my wife and my family, and making those decisions. I haven't, you know, the Force is a very special place, and to be honest, this has given me my start in my career, you know, and so I feel very loyal to all the people here that have given me that opportunity, and you know, the fans and everyone's just been really fantastic, you know. So we'll take the next couple of days to work that out as a family, I guess, but you know, we'll make that decision shortly.
What's your advice to the players now?
I think to behave in the way that they have done up to this point. You know, again, they've all, as I say, they've all acted incredibly admirably through this period, and probably to stick together. You know, one of the sad things, I think, is that we were in the start of a special journey here. You know, and we've got an incredibly young team, and I think they're capable of a lot. You know, and I think, as much as anything, is to try to stick together and see where that can lead us. You know, and exactly again what that looks like is not 100% clear, but that would be my view. Is that they're a very, very tight bunch of people, and that's a cliche that's thrown around teams a lot. But I think anybody who's been around this team, as you all have over the last couple of months, have seen that that's very real. You know, and so that, you know, we should try to retain that as much as we can in whatever form we can.
Dave, do you feel like this is almost the start of the end for Super Rugby?
You know, I'm not sure about Super Rugby. I mean, to be honest, I'm probably more focused on some of the exciting alternatives that Andrew's talking about. You know, there's some real heavyweights in behind what he has planned, and you know, from what I've heard from him, he's certainly some way down the track, probably further along the track than people expect in terms of what he's trying to get set up. You know, so it's pretty exciting, and you know, I'll leave that to him to announce in the next couple of days. But as I say, it's pretty exciting stuff, and so that's really the upside of all of this.
Just touching more on that in terms of rugby in the Indo-Pacific region, what do you make of it all there, and what potential do you see?
Well, I just think, you know, some of the facts that he threw out is you know, the huge amount of it happens on our time zone. So from a broadcasting perspective, that's obviously very valuable, and the populations of those countries are enormous, and the economies of those countries are enormous. You know, so we're talking about some real upside and some real opportunity that I think hasn't been tapped in rugby before, and so it's the kind of innovation that I think is needed. You know, Super Rugby certainly faces its challenges, and sadly, I think, you know, if you came to Sunday and you saw all those people on the hill, in a way, Super Rugby's ostracised a huge market share, which is very sad for rugby. You know, but as we say, maybe that's an opportunity for the rest of us going forward.
Do you think maybe the AU's kind of missed a chance to go out on its own in this scenario?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just a simple rugby coach, so all of those things are well above my pay grade. But what I know is that there's an incredible rugby community in this state. You know, when we went out and trained in some of the public public grounds over the last couple of months, you know, there were 600-700 kids turn up to watch us train. You know, and I don't think that happens in a lot of other states in Australia, and I don't think that happens to a lot of other Super Rugby teams. So people have underestimated just how passionate people are about rugby in this state, and it's very sad to see that at least temporarily squashed. But you know, as Andrew has said, and as Hodjo has said, you know, we'll be back, and we'll be back bigger than we were before, I think.
Do you see a future for the Spirit in the NRC as well going forward, or how do you guys feel about
Yeah, I mean, my personal aspiration now for the Spirit is to go and win an NRC. You know, there's no better statement that we can make as a group, you know, potentially playing for the last time together, is to actually go out there and win the whole thing. You know, so that's unashamedly my ambition from a rugby perspective now.
It takes a lot of courage to take on the establishment. Are you hopeful that maybe there could be a compromise before it has to become like a full rebel competition?
I think probably I'm more excited about what Andrew's been speaking about, you know, and I think, you know, if people wanted to join that, I think, you know, no doubt he'd be open to those discussions. But there's some really exciting stuff, as I say, in the pipeline, which I'll leave for him to sort of reveal over the next couple of days.
Dave, how would you like fans in rugby in Western Australia to react to the Wallabies on Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, first and foremost, I think we all love rugby, you know, that's why we got into this business in the first place, you know, and there's a number of our boys that are in that Wallaby team, you know, so for us to not support them or not turn up to the game, I think would be wrong, you know. I'm turning up there for guys like Adam and Dane and Taff and our guys within the group, but I'll certainly be wearing my Forrest blue, and I, you know, I'd encourage everybody else to try to do the same.
Have you been in contact with the guys in the Wallaby camp this morning?
Yeah, we spent a bit of time with them yesterday, and unfortunately I haven't seen them since the announcement this morning, but I'll be seeing them in the next sort of half an hour or so, I guess.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey,
Cheers.
if I could just say thank you so much to a brilliant coach, a brilliant ex-captain. I'd like to, in respect of the ARU, call a first meeting now with all the players and organisation of the Western Force. And I would encourage the state of Western Australia, all rugby-loving fans who come to the game this weekend to wear your blue colours, team. That's how to show the greatest support for Australian rugby and the greatest support for Western Force. I really encourage our rugby-loving fans, our sports-loving fans, to get out there and wear the blue. Thank you very much, and media, thank you. I do need the room, so let me know if Jeanette Cottrell can help you with anything else. But now we have to rock and roll. The new dawn has started.
Can we grab Mark? Mark, we're going to grab you for a couple.
Okay, Western Force, guys, can we all stay? I would like to talk
Might do it outside.
Up to you. I don't
It's just going to be difficult to work with the cameras, isn't it?
I'll just quickly then.
Yeah, that's all right. Obviously, you guys have, you know, signalled your intent to appeal that higher up. What do you make of the chances, or is today a bit of a tough?
Well, obviously we're getting some legal advice about that, and Andrew's indicated that we'll talk to in Australia to have a look at it, and then we'll know in the next couple of days.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, come in, guys, come and be counted.
When is the future of your position given at US?
I'll give you discussed over the next couple of days.
Yeah. And obviously, if the Force were, can you kind of reconcile having an NRC team as well as this kind of different?
I think they're all unknowns. I think we're excited by the future prospects. We're excited by the prospects for rugby players in Western Australia, and I think that's what's really exciting out of today's announcement.
You had any official comment from the ARU? They've been in touch?
No, I haven't heard anything.
In terms of the players, a lot of them already have plan Bs.
Okay.
What would be your message to them?
Oh no, they've got to just, you know, we've just asked them, as Dave has said, just take a moment to think about it carefully and see if they can stay together. All right, guys,
Okay,
no worries. Happy to do some other stuff afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Right on.